Thanks, Shelja, for the lovely introduction. I think the conversation that we've had so far in the day have been really enriching and interesting. So we'll try to continue the conversation in this session or panel also. Going by the topic of discussion, we understand D2C brands have kind of transformed marketing by harnessing Martech that builds, direct, strong, data-rich customer relationships. Martech enables, personal precision targeting, real-time personalization, and performance-driven influencer strategies. So in that context, I'll first come to Sameer, you. When we talk about Martech and D2C brands, what kind of value you have seen Martech driving a brand like you? If you can throw some parts of it.
Thank you. Thank you for making me part of this lovely topic. And while I come to the point, what I will be talking here will be from the lens of BFSI and lending in particularly. So when we talk about from a lending industry perspective, so for me, the customer profile majorly varies basis the behavior, right? So it is like his repayment behavior, whether it's on us or off us. And similarly, it is his past credit history, which has to kind of predict into the future intentional behavior, whether he will be continuing that kind of a superiority or kind of a deteriorated behavior. All said and done, for me to outreach that customer, there are multiple flows. I mean, you can't reach out to that customer in a single plain vanilla journey. You have to branch it out into multiple conversations. You have to branch it out into multiple segments, and creating those segments manually or kind of, thinking of those flows out of system. So that is where I think so the very first step of bringing the technology came into place. And today, as we speak, a lot of this stuff is happening on workflows, journeys. We are just pushing the data into the system, the events are getting fired. Right, so on the due dates, you are getting the reminders pushed out. On the due date, we have the cohortization also available. So all those cohorts are getting different messages. All those workflows are branching out into different frequency maybe, right? Different content, different frequency, different time of the day. So all those features which probably were very manual earlier, today we are able to do that customization or handle those particular targeted approach at a scale with the help of this Martech. So that's primarily our use case.
Understood. Puravansh, how that works out in your case, being a smartphone brand, being a mobile brand, how does it work? How does Martech, has helped you in kind of, enhancing the value that the brand brings?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for calling me here. Now, we are a consumer brand, so and we are operating in a variety of segments. So being a tech brand, we have smartphones, we have accessories, buds, your hearables, wearables, feature phones. So that's a very wide variety of consumer base which we have. And being almost 1.5 decades old, almost 16 years in the industry, we have sold close to 200 million devices till now in various shapes and sizes. Almost 20 CR customers we have in this long 16 years. So as he mentioned, so I'll just take example from smartphones, easier to understand. So smartphone as a device varies, starts from around 6,000-7,000 rupees, goes up to almost 1 lakh, 2 lakh range. We operate somewhere from the affordable segment to mid segment range. So from say 5,000-6,000 to 30,000 or 35,000. Now the life cycle of this product is around 2 to 3 years. Then every 2 to 3 years consumers change their phones. So one of the objectives which we had is to get maximum repurchase from our consumer base. Since we have a very large consumer base, we want our affordable customers to upgrade to premium devices. So it is very important to engage with them on a regular basis, keep them engaged with the brand. We can't sell everything something every month to them, but we have to keep them engaged. So we need help of these platforms And we are using, so we have some custom developed platforms in-house wherein we engage different consumers who are in different parts of the life cycle. And we engage them in terms of, say, loyalty programs. We engage them in referral programs. We any new thing which we are doing, they are the first ones to know. We try to convert them into say our social brand influencers. So there are programs for that. So these platforms are helping us customize our communication, because this is not, as he mentioned, this is not manually possible to customize the outreach to consumers at this scale. So you need these platforms, you need these tech platforms to regularly engage with the consumers, give them the next step of engagement, keep them invested in the brand. So these we are majorly using these platforms to maintain loyalty, to expand our user base, word of mouth, social influencer, convert a lot of UGC. So in our industry, a lot of usage based content works. So how is the experience of using this device? So we try and convert our user base to our social influencer as much as possible. So that's also with these tech platforms which we are using. So that's what we try to do.
Interesting. Udisha, how does your brand, derive value from, Martech so far?
First, thank you for having me here. So I think the golden rule of marketing is you're sending the right message at the right time to the right audience. And this is where Martech brings everything together at one place. And that's where you drive true value. So for us, Martech is, and at Eucloid, we have been pioneering this for all our clients. It is just not about adding more and more layers of data and tools, but rather having clean data, having precise segmentations, orchestrating those segments at the right channels with contextual messaging. That's where the entire Martech comes together and helps a brand build loyalty and continued engagement. So for instance, for some of our clients, so they are a consumer tech brand. Over there, we have used a composable CDP, which a unified CDP rather, which helps them bring data points from their web, their app, their offline, not only providing them a continued flow of a journey, but also giving them various touch points and various information about how a customer is engaging, what is driving stickiness, what is driving customer value. So using these tools and tech stacks, we are able to now reach the client in real time and with the right kind of a message. So instead of sending them something very random item based on their interactions with us, based on what they viewed on our website or an app, now we would send them the right kind of a message. For example, for a client, we saw that a customer constantly comes to the website, visits a TV but doesn't buy. So using this CDP tech stack, we were able to send them an email with the comparison tool with their TV being compared to 10 other TVs, like 3 other TVs, and then giving them a bundled offer. And then this entire approach of stitching the data, what they're looking for, how to give them more information about making the right purchase, we were able to drive higher repeat purchase for this brand. So over here, Martech really comes together in bringing value.
That was my next question around, repeat purchases and sort of, long-term relationship building. How that works out, Sameer, for you and Puravansh for you? What are the tools, that you deploy, not just for, retaining customers, but also for, building that long-term impact and relationship with your customers?
So for us, retention is primarily your cross-sell. So if you are able to go back to the same customer with a new loan and he is coming back to you as a trusted lender to fulfill that demand, so that is where we kind of look at retention, because PFSI lending is more related to building that trust, that value, because it has a financial connotation attached to it. You are dealing with someone's money, you are responsible for someone's commitment of that money to be fulfilled at a certain point. That experience that you created at the first loan and the continuous monitoring of that behavior at the back end, and being proactive in getting back to that customer with a pre-approved offering, rather than he going out in the market and searching out for a loan. So that is primarily, as on date, happening at the back-end layer. But once it is done, then immediately that data file, that is, that flags, which kind of tell me this has a pre-approved loan. So reaching out to that customer, as she also touched upon, right time at the right channel, and adding just to that at the right frequency. So some users only need one nudge, some users might be 10 nudges to get finally converted. Some need nudge at each and every stage because of their lifestyle, because of their current behavior. So depending upon the understanding of that database, so the demography of that particular user when he got onboarded at the first time, marrying that along with his journey with us over the last 6 or 9 months, and going out to him with exact hyper-personalized offering. So it's not just the personalization of his name or anything. You are talking to him with exact amount of his pre-approved loan, right? You are giving him a link which is more or less today channel agnostic. If he want to do that journey on a web, he can do that on web. If he wants to do that journey on an app, he can download our app and do that on an app. And as we speak, we are talking of a two-way journey over the WhatsApp itself. Right, so all those channel agnostic platforms are available to that user, and at the same time, the tool or the icing on the cake here is that the user wants that journey to be kind of omni channel interface. So he don't know that whatever if I have done something on web, if I started over app, will I get the same point in to start? Right, so that kind of a omni-channel behavior or experience rather is what you are able to deliver. Nudging him at the right time, and all these nudges are today AI-led. So again, I'm using that word, but for a purpose, because that AI probably here is understanding the funnel, at which particular stage of the funnel is. If he is at a KYC stage, he needs to be treated with a different video altogether, self-help video. He need to be knocked from a different connotation altogether. However, if he is stuck just on within KYC also, if he is just stuck on the selfie, so we have to talk to him in a very different manner, and it can be a very candid reminder also. Whereas, but if it is stuck at the very first stage, where he has seen the offer, but is not taking the next step, the push, the persuasion, and the communication will be completely different. So tracking the entire funnel of that D2C customer journey and giving him an auto nudge, irrespective of the time of the day, irrespective of the platform that he has chosen for doing this journey, all those automated nudges will reach out to him. We will keep tracking him throughout the journey, keep him pushing to the next level. And at the same time, in case if he changes the channel also, medium also, he will get the same experience, he will get started from there.
Correct. Very interesting. So, but Puravansh, does this same logic applies also in consumer brand, hyper-localization, personalization?
Yeah, so I'll give a very small example. So rather than just, in our industry, like people are very passionate about certain brands. So because this is a very deeply personal device, everybody's carrying a smartphone. They are very passionate, so you can go to social media and see a lot of intense debates happening, this brand versus that brand. So a lot of people fight with it. So it's very important for us to cultivate this these brand enthusiasts, people who have experienced our phones and smartphones for a longer period. So because they are in our industry, people don't trust what the brand is saying. They trust what other people are saying. So it's very important. UGC becomes very, very critical. What we tried to do, so we identified using these tools. So we identified our repeat purchasers. So there were many people in the system who had bought 3, 4, even 5 devices over the years. So without us knowing that such loyalists and enthusiasts are there. So we created this program to engage with these guys because word of mouth, I think in today's social media age, is the best marketing tool. So if as somebody in the previous panel also said, that authentic communication is working. These creatives, they are so cheap and easy to make with AI that people are also not fools. So they know that anybody can make these claims, anybody can make good creatives, good shots. So they are trusting more and more authentic. So that's what has led to this booming of influencer community as well. So these YouTubers or Instagrammers, because people see these guys as authentic. So in this program, we reached out to these people who were our loyalists over the years, and we created special programs for them. Like we created a special portal where any new phone which we were launching, they could purchase it one day prior before the market launch. Another thing, discounts as high as 30-35%. Then referrals to family members, like 1+1 offers, such offers were launched. Incentives to create content about their experience of using the brand. So these platforms help us identify these areas. Because data, as I mentioned in my first answer, the data is huge. You can find all sorts of people in the system and do n number of things with those guys to grow the brand. So depends on what the objective is. So like this really helped us connect with our user base in a better way. Really helped us create these initiatives which resulted in good word of mouth for the brand. So that's
interesting. But this, hyper personalization, being more relevant to customers, that brings me to my next question. Does it come at the cost of, your bottom line, the profit? How do you balance it?
So in terms of cost, I think this is a very accepted marketing fact that consumer life cycle cost of new consumer acquisition is high. Once that person is in the system, so this is a very basic marketing 101 knowledge, that this is a very poor model to acquire customers and let them go. No brand can sustain with this model of operation, because you see a lot of startups shutting down. They pour a ton of money in getting these consumers, but they are not able to retain these consumers in the system. So when you are any brand which has the longest life cycle of a consumer, that once he entered, he stayed for some number of years, and probably then those will be the most profitable and most brand with the most longevity in the market. So if you can see in our industry, you can see Apple. There are people who have started using Apple 3, 4, 5, 6, now I think 15, 16, 17, whatever. तो देख रहे हो कि हर साल 2 साल में so see how that brand practically doesn't have to spend anything to convert he's already converted for him. When you launch a new product, he'll be there lining up for it. So when it comes to cost, I think the cost of these initiatives are always lower than cost of acquiring a new consumer. So it is better to use these tools and techniques, engage with your audience base in a better way rather than keep on pouring money to get new people.
Give me one example.
Example of?
How do you retain customers, build on the existing customers?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, so with these initiatives, you cultivate people who have been engaged with the brand, you increase repurchase rate. So in our industry, we all the brands, it's a very key important KRA for all of us, the repurchase. So every couple of years, your lower segment consumers will be upgrading to higher segment. So I'll give you an example. We have these 2 series of smartphones. One is from say 8,000-10,000 rupees, another is 15,000-20,000 rupees. So our focus is to convert these 8 to 10,000 consumers to 15 to 20,000 consumers, and to scale up that ratio of sales to as high as 30-40% of total sales. So and it happens. So some of the leading brand in the industry are having very high double-digit repurchase rates. So that means that their earlier consumers are buying their new phones as well, and that for us also. So our entry level consumers. One program which we ran 3-4 years ago. So we have a very large feature phone base. So we started as a feature phone brand back in 2010. So we have, and it is still a very large market, by the way. There are almost 50 million handsets being sold annually. So we have very large, and many of these people are trying to upgrade to a smartphone, and so we ran this program, special program from feature phone to smartphone conversion program. We reached out to these guys. We identified these people, created special engagement initiatives at retail points, through telecalling, and there are ways to reach these people. And then that led and tried to convert them to our entry level 8 to 10,000 smartphones. So these are some of the examples for the initiative.
Wonderful. Udisha, how do you leverage your existing customer base to kind of keep your costs lower or rather stable, if not at all increase?
So we have at Eucloid, we have seen companies falling in I think your earlier question was also around sometimes personalization can become expensive, and then how do you find the right balance? And actually we have also seen with our clients that they have fallen into the trap of over engineering and over segmentation, because I think McKinsey and all, they've released a report that 67% users expect personalization, otherwise they won't convert. At Eucloid, we really focus on behavioral and intent signals rather than plain vanilla demographic attributes, and that has really helped us I would say relevance, and we have seen higher ROI. So whenever we have shifted from static attributes to real-time attributes, behavioral intent signals, that is where I think the true value comes from. Now, I think also then adding to that, there are many tools out there right now which can help you do personalization in real time. So you can use tools like maybe Snowplow and High Touch to do real-time segmentation, and then use a tool like More Engage and Web Engage to orchestrate the customer at various touch points through just one click. So this kind of a tool and efficiency that now marketers have because of these leading tech stack, it is really playing out in the way you will see marketing strategy unfurling, be it WhatsApp or be it voice, be it influencer, be it e-com, email, anything. And for retention specifically, I think using the first party data, the web data, becomes very important because that's where you have most control of. And then building models on top of it, coming up with signal whom to reach out at the right time. I think to what he also mentioned, right? So for example, for one of our client, which is into D2C home essentials brand. So we noticed that right after the first purchase, when we send them an email with a restock reminder that, your diffuser, it's been a month, do you want to restock that diffuser with a complementary product? We saw much higher, and like to cross-sell what Samir was also mentioning, this kind of a cross-sell and upsell strategy really not only helps you increase the repeat value, but also helps you increase the lifetime value. At the same time, reducing the CAC. And we have seen many D2C companies shifting from pure acquisition to retention. And I think for a good reason. I think Adobe recently released a number that 40% of the 40% of revenue comes from only 8% of the customer base, highlighting the value of repeat business, maintaining that engagement with the customers. And we've seen that stat play out consistently across all our clients. So I think it's the right way of, I think what he also mentioned, it's just you can't get a client and then forget about it. You have to constantly engage them. But now, what do you engage them with? So having the relevance is very important, where I think now a lot of AI can actually help you. Earlier, you would run into this constraint that, okay, you can only generate X amount of creatives or X amount of subject lines. But now using generative AI, you can actually generate N number of copies, so you can personalize. So this is how AI with human oversight can actually come together, personalize the entire messaging for the customers and help you retain them in the longer term.
Samir, in lending business, how does it work out? Is it difficult?
Especially
in micro, small ticket?
Yeah, so the fundamental remain the same. It's relevance and context. I mean, you keep on reaching out to a customer. It's not tool, because tool can give you the ability to kind of blast them, maybe send them multiple. As she also mentioned, you have now the option of generating multiple options. But do you really need those kind of A/B segmentation? Do you really need that number of micro segmentation, or something is working perfectly fine? You just need to monitor it more efficiently, right? So it is not always about the outreach. It is sometimes uh, bringing out that relevance that you already have and amplifying that. So the beauty of the tools, whatever we are talking about, either it's Martech, it's like CDPs or whatever technologies that we are talking about, the tools or the digital transformation here is actually or shall actually help you to amplify that.
Can you give one use case?
Yeah, so one of the very simple use cases that that a person who has purchased a two-wheeler from you, right? Over a period of his journey, he will be either upgrading himself to a used car, or he will be having some kind of a financial need in terms of a personal loan. He might be a self-employed, might be setting up to kind of expand his business. He can be into looking out for some kind of a business loan, and so on and so on. So there is a customer life cycle, CLTV, PPC, whatever way we want to track it. But the easiest skill here is someone who has trusted you for a two-wheeler. He can easily be converted into a personal loan, right? And that personal loan offering, again, it's a small ticket personal loan. It is again going the length and breadth of the country. So the behavior of that customer is different. The demand, most of them don't even, if you are reaching out to a customer, it is not necessarily that just you have declared a pre-approved offer, so he has a need for it. So there is a need generation also that need to be done. So that demand gen for a tier 2 customer will be very differently reached out, and for a tier 1 customer. And similarly, at the back end, I have the data attributes also. So that's the relevance I already know, because I understand the onboarding and onboarding behavior. But am I just being blind to that and just using the tools to kind of blast outreach to them? Like I can now reach out to 10 lakh customers in a single click. I can just reach out to any time of the day, multiple frequencies. No. The answer is, if my communication will be relevance, probably 2 to 3 sequential progressive outreaches will lead him to a click. And that click, let's simply put it to an engagement. You will be able to build an engagement if you are talking relevance to him. And this relevance to be tailored and to be put at scale, that is where you have just kind of use your onboarding relevance and your previous historical data to amplify that outreach in a very seamless way, where customer will not even come to know that you are being very differentiated with him, but at the same time he will feel personalized. Going back to the same point that everyone wants the offering to talk to him personalized. You get, I think so, while we are sitting in this room, in a day, typically you get 4 to 5 messages, pre-approved personal loan of up to rupees 5 lakh. Versus if you get, hi Sameer, thank you for a loyal customer of being Hero FinCorp. Here is a pre-approved loan of 2,30,000 only for you. So that's the differentiation, that message versus a general message which is being just blasted out in the context of just gauging some engagement, versus you are talking to that person. He now know that you know me. So that brand connect, that previous recall, and building a loyalty angle to that. That's the relevance I already knew. And if I'm not using that in my communication, if not amplifying that tonality in my communication, then I'm not using an efficient thing, efficiency of my Martech platform. And that's where it goes back to the CAC also. If you are just being very particular with this piece, CAC will ultimately reduce down, because the efficiency has to kick in. If the efficiency is not kicking in, either we are kind of horizontally getting more spread out, and as all of them have touched upon, UGC is a very classic example. I mean, if that you can build in that journeys, and if you can incentivize that customer to bring in a UGC, again, nothing more can talk about that. But doing all that at a scale and at a relevant timing, so that is what Martech will help you build the efficiency and gradually reduce your CAC also.
Efficiency and gradually reduce CAC. But I also wanted to touch upon the aspect of or element of authenticity. Martech brings automation, Martech-driven customer engagement. How brands like yours balance automation and authenticity?
So again, I think so we heard in the day also that, AI-generated content versus a human-generated content, you can still feel a difference, you can still see the kind of, the difference that both the content has, and that has a impact on your final conversion also. But the balance here is using that automation or the tool for the elements which are more of what I can call is like leaving the automation for routine pieces and keeping the emotion for the human. So if it's a content wherein you have to bring in some emotional tonality, because the content will have tonality, the content will have the contextuality, the content will have the imagery, maybe background, what kind of offering you are doing to the offer. So that if there is some emotion involved, that has to be still have a kind of a human touch. But now you know that your typical user journey requires 3 nudges. For that, you need not a person to do a batch and blast of 3. Yeah. So this automation can be put on kind of, assembly line. And similarly, creating auto segmentations. If a user is not delivered, there is a lack of delivery on a particular segment, you need not a human to come and create a segment of a non-delivered user and then re-trigger them. It's a very simple example. No? Send it, monitor it after 24 hours, the users who have not been delivered, create a segment, auto shoot. So the balance, as you touched upon, so the balance lies here. So all those routine, mundane and already established tasks which just need to be performed on a repetitive nature shall be definitely amplified with the help of the technology. But if that needs some contextuality, so that emotional part can be automated, but still shall be supervised by a human.
Understood. Puravansh, this gains more significance in your segment.
Yeah, so we look at it like, so I personally look at it like this key. So I think one hidden marketing KRA, which every person who is working in marketing is, to get a person to spend more and more time with you or your brand. So subtly, what are we trying to do with all these creatives? Whether we create a video or an asset, anything which we put out, is to engage those people for some time. उसके 24 घंटे में से you want some minutes out of that. So as he mentioned, there are various tasks. Like we get all these notifications from Zomato, Swiggy or whatever, Zepto, etc. Zepto got in trouble also for hyper-personalized messages some time back, which were borderline intrusive. So, so these are, as he's mentioned, some are mundane tasks. With these hyper-personalized technology solutions, you can get better at them. But these are not consumer engagement activities as per se. So he's like, you send a notification, he'll probably spend like 5-10, maybe at max 5 seconds looking at it or 2 seconds looking at it. आप daily भेजो 5-5 बार तो शायद 10 सेकंड 15 सेकंड लगा देगा. कोई बहुत अच्छी है तो शायद he might click on it and go to your app. That might so that's the agenda. शायद out of say 5 of these, he might click on something and come on the platform and spend more time on the platform eventually. Now, when it come to authenticity,
I clicked on even single of them.
Most of the people don't, but I think marketing people are hopeful in nature. So, okay, out of these 5, you'll click on something. But when it comes to say meaningful connection or any authentic communication with people, that always will have the human angle attached to it. Like you share stuff with, so I think the gold standard for any communication is that it goes viral. What is viral? Virality is nothing but people share it here and there. So आपने देखा, आपने 10 लोगों को आगे और भेज दिया, 5 लोगों को, and you send that something only if it touches something emotional or something cultural or something which people value. So that aspect is always there, and only authentic, true communication can go viral, and people will spend more and more time discussing about it. You see a lot of debates happen. LinkedIn aa gaya, so LinkedIn pe, I was reading something yesterday that now marketing is getting marketed. So you do some campaign and then you promote that you have done that campaign. So with all these platforms which are coming, so marketing needs marketing now. So but
Very nicely put, you put marketing.
so anything which gets discussed on, good thing is that good stuff gets discussed. Anything which touches us, anything which is authentic, which has a true message, or anything which is really funny or maybe culturally or emotional, people start discussing that, and there is no end to it, how far it can go. So that's how I see it.
Udisha, how do you see balancing authenticity and automation?
I think that's very important, because if you are not authentic, what will happen is you will eventually lose out the customers. And you will see massive churn. And that can actually be either a function of that you're sent, and that could also be because you're broadcasting people without even taking into account what they actually need. And that is why it becomes very important that you're authentic to the value that your brand will derive in the user's life. And that's what we have actually at Eucloid also advocate, that whenever we are doing any kind of marketing, it is very important that user proposition, how is it going to make users' life. For example, we are working for a crafting, like a company which makes crafting materials and crafting machines and printers. So over there, we saw that when they started sending this message with the new project ideas, how you can use this printing machine to come up with better ideas, how your community is using this printer and coming up with new ideas. So that inspiration that came, it was very authentic. People were coming up, oh, this is a new kind of a thing we can do. And from this community-based messaging, staying very authentic to the value that our product is deriving in your value, in your life, and how you can get more out of the current purchase. So balancing that out, while at the same time being in the forefront of your customer's mind, if they want to make a new purchase or if they want to make a cross purchase. So it's a balance that every marketer needs to really decide and think upon. And at Eucloid, the way we tackle this is that we back this up by data. So we do, I would say, we have very clean data sets. We have very precise segmentation strategies and very contextual messaging, and based on all these intents that I just talked about. So yes, it becomes very important if you want to have a lower churn than the industry, a long-term value, higher retention. Then balancing these factors become very important.
So while the time is up, but we'll have one parting thought from all of you. What all you want to say to all the D2C brands out there on how to derive maximum impact, maximum influence, and maximum value from Martech? You can start.
So I think my key learning has been that keep your customers, obviously acquisition is very important, but keep your customers glued or tied to your brand. These technology, segmentation techniques, customized communication, AI-based, hyper-personalized communication, they are just tools to keep them engaged meaningfully, which was not possible earlier. You can contextualize your outreach, but the end goal remains the same, that it is always better to have happy consumers in the system than keep on acquiring new ones and they leave dissatisfied. Yeah.
Interesting, Sameer.
So on D2C and Martech, the parting thought will be, Martech is not about automation. It is about amplifying. If you are able to amplify trust, amplify relevance, and amplify outcomes, then it is the actual transformation. Otherwise, I mean, that is just an overhead in disguise. You will be just reducing your ROIs, you will be reducing your, you will be increasing your CAC. So whether it turns out to be an overhead in your financial statements, or it helps you amplify your entire machinery of that marketing that you already had. So without losing the context and relevance, if you use it for amplification rather than automation, so that will be its true essence.
Amplification more. Udisha, you all part.
So I think one thing which is very important and something which we really recommend is whenever a company is deciding the marketing strategy, the Martech ecosystem for themselves, tying the entire objective to one business metric is very important. So it could be LTV CAC ratio, it could be conversion lift, or it could be operational efficiency. Keeping these North Star metrics become very important. Otherwise, Martech can actually become a big money pit if you're not ruthless about ROI, if you're not ruthless about which tools to keep and how to use them. So, and like I think Sameer also mentioned, if done right, marketing automation is just not automation, but it can actually potentially become a growth engine, which will help you drive long-term value and repeat behavior at scale. And this is where I think all the teams come together, the data comes together, and the clean, and I think I've emphasized on these words so many times. They're very simple strategies, but it's very important that you're sending the right messaging to the right customer. And these tools can actually help you achieve that. And I think now with AI, Gen AI, agentic workflows, it is actually also helping build a lot of efficiencies, which can release a lot of human bandwidth to think more strategically on how to maintain authenticity, how to personalize, and how to not lose your customers and have them be with you for the long term.
Great. I think our audience will have a significant insights from this discussion. Thanks, Udisha, Sameer, Puravansh for taking time on joining us. Thanks a lot. Thank you.